The track that he's on right now is going to put him, I think he leaped over CJ. He's top 5 right now, legitimately, and that's not hyperbole. I have a lot of friends in the DC area. I lived in DC for a long time. I haven't seen them with this much hope in their eyes since Obama got elected.
I know, right?
He the new Obama out there, boy. It's ladies' night. What? It's Samaria on the mic. The butterbean honey got the sugar, got the red sweater. What's up, beloved? Welcome to another episode of the Fumble. I'm Rodney Rikai. Kool-Aid over there is Samaria Terry. What's happening? How you feeling, big cool?
I feel good.
So you got a birthday today.
I know, and I'm turning 21.
Girl, please. Why are you afraid to get older?
I'm not. I'm really not.
Well, why can't you just say how old you are?
Okay, you tell me how old you are, and then I'll tell you how old I am.
I'm old enough to know better. And I'm old enough to talk some sports. I'm getting about this. Are you ready to start this thing? Mm-hmm. Let's start this thing. Let's do this thing. Yes, sir.
All right, Rodney, are the Chiefs getting favorable calls? Well, Patrick Mahomes doesn't think so. He said in a press conference this week that the referees are doing their best to call a fair game. The Houston Texans, however, didn't think so. Their defense was penalized twice for hits against Mahomes in last week's divisional round game. Both of those happening on Chiefs scoring drives, with one being on a third down to extend that drive. So, Rodney, do you feel like the refs are giving Mahomes a little bit more protection than other quarterbacks in the league?
1,000%. And I think they should. This is a couple of months ago, we were talking about Zion Williamson, and the NBA did not protect the asset that is Zion Williamson. The NFL is protecting the asset in Patrick Mahomes. Don't you breathe your hot lineman breath on Patrick Mahomes, okay? And this is what they should do. He's too important to the league. The Chiefs are too important to the league for right now. At some point, things will turn, but in this current moment, I think the overall intrigue and investment into the Chiefs, and not just because of everything football related, right? When you take into account the Taylor Swift effect, it's important for them to have a level of success, and that's business.
I literally was going to say the same thing. Obviously, we know it's no secret that the NFL protects quarterbacks first of all, but when you're a star like Patrick Mahomes, you get extra protection. What I don't like is that Patrick knows what he's doing. He knows that he can play these defenses and get these late calls. I hate that because I feel like it's kind of hurting the integrity of the game. So that's what I'm saying. Like, at what point are people not even feeling like because I feel like this has happened all season, to be honest. Like, the Chiefs have gotten wins. They, or whatever their record is, what are they, 15-1, 6? I don't know, whatever they are, 16-1, and they're barely beating teams, and the wins are coming off of these late hit calls or some like call that is just so egregious. You're like, okay, and people are like the Chiefs not even hitting on nothing, but they're getting the calls. Like, I don't think that it's fair. I would have liked to see if the Texans had played a little bit of a better game and Mahomes didn't get those 2 late hit calls, what would that game have really looked like?
I think these kind of situations stoke the fire of fan emotion. And anytime that you have emotion, for real, you have investment.
Yeah.
And the NFL is all about storylines. You know, a couple of years ago, everybody wanted to see Patrick Mahomes because he was so incredible. And now people want to see Patrick Mahomes because they want to see him lose, which is a very, very big shift in narrative and how people are viewing the Chiefs and Mahomes, which I think the NFL is doing a great job in managing and creating storylines, right? Like, the hero turns villain. And I'm all for that. I wish the NBA had more of this. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. But I also respect that Patrick Mahomes understands that you got to die with the lie, right? Like, as somebody who is a retired cheater, I know that you got to die with the lie, because you can't.
What?
I used to be a cheater, okay, in my relationships.
Okay.
And you would have to catch me. I've been caught in the bed and lied my way out of it. So I'm going to put me in the ground with my lie.
Okay.
I'm not proud of that, by the way. I was young and stupid, but I definitely did that.
Okay. Again, I don't like that Mahomes knows that he's going to get the calls, and he knows how to play the defenses. Like, he's like, okay, okay, I'm going to just stay in bounds and you better not hit me.
Did you ever play Street Fighter or any of the fighting games growing up?
No, I did not.
All right. So back in the day, we would play like these Street Fighter games or whatever. And if you knew how to do like the sweeping leg kick, you could just do it all game and win. And it was like a cheat code. You would be so pissed, like, yo, dog, stop doing that. But if that is the code that has allowed me to kick your ass, if that is the cheat that has allowed me to beat you continuously, then do something about it.
Okay,
Do
well,
something about
I
it.
am asking the NFL to do something about it.
No, it's not the NFL's job. It's the opposing team's job. NFL is not going to intervene on
So,
Patrick
okay,
Mahomes having
so, okay,
success.
okay, so what should the defense do? Like, what should the defense do? Because you can't touch them. So how do you get them down?
You gotta yell at them loud. You got to yell at them loud, or you got to get to them a half step quicker. Really, that's all it is. Really, it's like literally a matter of like a half a second. That's literally the window in which it can go from, all right, you can get away with that, to that's a penalty. And unfortunately, like we saw the play this past weekend, Patrick Mahomes takes off downfield. He's close to the sideline and he slows down intentionally so that the defender can run into him to try to draw the flag. Right,
Yeah.
he is the James Harden of the NFL right now. He is manipulating officials to get calls and get a competitive advantage. But that has
Yeah.
always been a thing in sports. Whatever you have to do to have a competitive advantage, you do it. And right now, he's smarter than everybody else at doing it.
Yeah, you all let us know down in the comments. What do you make of Patrick Mahomes saying that the referees are actually calling a fair game? Do you agree with him, or do you think it's a little baloney? We want to hear from you.
So before an early season injury, Jayden Daniels was looking like not just a rookie of the year, but a legitimate MVP candidate. He was putting up better numbers than Mahomes, highlighted by a Week 8 Hail Mary that beat fellow rookie quarterback Caleb Williams. He ranked 4th in QBR, only behind Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and Joe Burrow. And obviously, after 2 upset victories in the playoffs, has the Commanders back in the conference championship for the first time in what feels like forever. Samaria, I know this probably hurts your heart, but I must ask, is Jayden Daniels having the best rookie season for a quarterback ever?
Yeah, I mean, seeing him live, it blew my mind. I think what's most impressive, other than his poise, his confidence, is the way that he can perform at a high level in the biggest game. There were not a lot of Commanders fans in Detroit on Saturday. There weren't a lot of them. They didn't travel, and I don't know if Detroit bought up all the tickets. I don't know. But what I will say is Detroit was loud, and it just fueled him. And I was like,
He's him.
that kid got it. He's him. And I hate it,
Yeah.
but he's him. I will say also that Kingsbury does a great job as his offensive coordinator. They have so many different play calls. It's ridiculous for a defense to even try to wrap their mind around it. There's no repetition in the plays that he calls. And it's really interesting too, because like my fiance is like, oh yeah, Kingsbury calls like an offensive, it's a very college-like offense, right? And so there was no transition really, it felt like, for Jayden Daniels to go from LSU to the Commanders, because the offense was very similar and they really played up to what he's good at. And I mean, for you to have one of the highest QB ratings in the biggest game, come on.
So if Kingsbury is having this much success with Jayden
Mhm.
Daniels in year 1, is this an indictment on his previous starting NFL quarterback?
I think I wouldn't say that. I think that unfortunately he was the head coach, wasn't the OC. So maybe he couldn't get his hands in there as much as he wanted to. Like now he has no other responsibilities other than calling the plays.
But he was brought
But
in as
I
an
don't,
offensive guru, right?
I mean, obviously I would say that Jay Daniels looks a whole lot better than Kyler Murray.
Okay. That's all I
Okay.
wanted to hear you say. That's all. That's all I wanted to hear
Okay.
you say. This is incredible. This is this run that Jayden Daniels is on is, yeah, I think this is one of my, it's up there with like Mike Vick with the Eagles, right? Like that year, the first year that Vick came back and he just energized not just his team, not just like the Eagles fan base, but even the casual fan became invested
Yeah.
in the Mike Vick story. That's where I am with Jayden Daniels right now. His command, his poise, his touch, some of those deep balls, like one of the receivers, I don't know if it was McLaurin, but one of the receivers I could not see. Eyes were closed on one of those
Mm-hmm.
passes, but it didn't matter because the ball was so on the money that it just fell right into the breadbasket.
Yeah.
I am so impressed. When I saw Jayden Daniels earlier in the season, I was like, man, he's too thin. He got to put some weight on because, I don't know if his frame is going to be able to sustain an NFL season, NFL contact. And he's proven me wrong at every turn. I don't even think that he needs to do anything from a physical standpoint. Obviously, you always work to get better, stronger, all of the things. But the track that he's on right now is going to put him, I think he leaped over CJ. Yeah, like he's top 5 right now, legitimately. And that's not hyperbole. That's just like what he's doing. And I have a lot of friends in the DC area. I lived in DC for a long time. I haven't seen them with this much hope in their eyes since Obama got elected.
I know, right?
He the new Obama out there, boy. I'm trying to tell you what I know.
Right. And they haven't really done anything. They hadn't really added anybody to that offense but him. It's literally the same offense with him. And now y'all are playing in the NFC Championship game. It's crazy.
Yeah. And in a week,
shout out to them, though.
Yeah. And in a week when DC, a lot of them government workers is going to lose their jobs just because of, change in power in the office. They don't even care right now. They don't even care about unemployment because they got Jayden Daniels behind center. I love that.
I will say this, though. I will say this. You can't not talk about that game against Detroit without mentioning that Detroit's defense was depleted, right? I have to say that. They had a lot of guys on injured reserve. Literally. I mean, they were playing, and then you had injuries during this game. When I tell you they were playing guys off the street, I had never seen these boys before. I'm like, who is this? Okay. This is gonna be the biggest test against Philadelphia's defense. And I think if he can get past this, I'm like, y'all might be able to give the Chiefs a run for their money if you can get past Philadelphia in Philly.
Yeah, I mean, he's already beat them once this year, right? They split the season series. This is a divisional game in the championship, in the NFC championship, and I think that makes like the seeding doesn't matter at this point, right? Like, we are divisional rivals. Everything is out the window. There's a different boost that you get when you play against your divisional foes. And for some reason, man, I just think we're in a window where first year with new ownership for the Commanders, right? Just a surge of new energy. And it just feels like this is fate to a degree. And perhaps we have a guy who can be the foil for Patrick Mahomes. We used to think it was Joe Burrow, and that hasn't proven to be true in maybe 3 or 4 years now. So maybe Jayden Daniels is the guy that America can stamp.
I thought it was Lamar too.
I don't know that we thought that. I don't think that we thought that.
We did. Speaking of Lamar, he's one of the finalists for MVP, along with Josh Allen, Saquon Barkley, Joe Burrow's on the list, Jared Goff. Who do you feel like is your front runner right now for MVP?
Yo, I'm gonna be honest. Normally we go quarterback for MVP.
Who you saying? Because I feel like we got the same person.
And Lamar Jackson, to me, has had a better year than even Josh Allen. When you look at his numbers statistically, all his numbers are better. But it's Saquon Barkley.
Yes. See,
it's
I knew
Saquon
we were
Barkley
on the same page.
Yeah, he transformed Philadelphia. And you can see it just this past week, right? Like in snow and cold, he literally ran them into the NFC Championship game.
Yes.
All Saquon Barkley. He's been absolutely sensational.
He's been the most consistent part of their offense. He's carried this team all the way to the NFC Championship game, even when you had the issues with Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown in the locker room talking about, well, we need to work on passing. They couldn't get their stuff together. Saquon Barkley is still hurtling backwards over defenders. You got to give it to him. Against his former rival.
Can you imagine choosing Daniel Jones over Saquon Barkley? Yo, I'm going to get upset. Let me get out of this segment.
Okay.
Daniel Jones. And they're going to cut the man in the followers. Y'all let us know your thoughts. Is Jayden Daniels, in fact, having the greatest rookie season in NFL history? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section. Also, let us know who you think should be the MVP of this year's NFL season.
The Miami Heat has suspended Jimmy Butler again, this time for 2 games due to a quote, continued pattern of disregard of team rules, insubordinate conduct, and conduct detrimental to the team, end quote. This comes after missing a team flight Wednesday. This is also the second time this month that the Heat has handed down a suspension to Jimmy Butler for conduct detrimental to the team. That time he missed 7 games. Now it's clear that Butler wants to be traded before the February 6th deadline, but Rodney, is this the best way to go about it?
Hell no, not messing with Pat Riley. It doesn't behoove you to do this. I don't think Pat Riley is a person who accommodates bratty behavior, you know. And bratty is a term that can be internalized however you see fit. But I think that Pat Riley is viewing Jimmy Butler as less than a man right now. And it's because of these actions. He comes from a generation where you honor the contract, you honor the work. You put your name on that dotted line a couple of years ago. I need you to finish this thing out in a way that lets me know that you appreciate how we have compensated you in the past. If you want to play for talk about future contracts, that's cool. But right now, in the midst of this one, you don't get to just act out like this. I like Jimmy Butler as a player. I'm a fan of his, but to continuously leave organizations in this fashion says a lot about his character. And, he's not a tier 1 guy. He never has been, but he has had tier 1 moments, and he's catapulted his team literally into championships or finals, rather, because he never won. But this you can't do this. This can't fly.
Literally. Yeah, obviously he's made it known that he wanted that $113 million extension. He didn't like his role on offense now. He's made that known. He's tripled down, according to Shams, with Pat Riley, with the owner, and then, of course, with his head coach. So he's let everybody know that he wants to be traded. But I feel like you said, there's a level of professionalism that you have to have when you're a basketball player in the NBA. And it just doesn't look good. Like, why are you getting suspended? And then when they asked him, okay, well, what happens if you're still in the Miami Heat February 7th? He's like, I'm just going to hoop. So why aren't you hooping now?
Yeah.
And is a team, like you said, he's not tier 1. Is a team going to want to deal with you? Are they going to want to pay you and deal with that?
Now there is the question. Because I think adding Jimmy Butler to your team, if you're a fringe team who's maybe potentially in a position to win a championship, you want Jimmy Butler on your team this year, because wherever he goes next, if he happens to go somewhere next, he is going to kill. I know that. Because he really is kind of just reserving all of his energy right now. So wherever he goes next, he will be having a renewed spirit and energy about him. But as far as paying him for, 4 or 5 years, there were conversations a couple of years ago around Kyrie Irving. And Kyrie was looked at as a cancer. And Kyrie wasn't doing half of this. And the conversation around Kyrie was, you can't commit all of this money to him because you don't know what Kyrie Irving you are going to get. But Kyrie Irving was always a professional when it came to the game of basketball, and he never shortchanged the game, which is what Jimmy Butler is doing. He's taking way too few shots, and he's doing it intentionally, right? He's not being aggressive, not being assertive, and he's being one of those guys who's like, all right, I'm going to play defense, but y'all can't make me shoot. And it's childish. And I can't imagine being his teammate right now, being like, yo, bro, like, I'm out here, like, some of those guys are fighting for their future contracts as well. In the Miami Heat, even though I think right now they're in the 6th seed in the playoffs, I don't know if they continue to not perform well, it affects everybody else's paycheck down the line.
I know that he wanted to go to Phoenix. Mm-hmm. How do you feel like that dynamic would be?
I think that'd be a good fit. Honestly, I think Jimmy brings a lot of toughness. While he doesn't bring the outside shooting, contingent upon what Phoenix has to give up to get him, I think Grayson Allen is a phenomenal shooter, right? So if you have D-Book, Grayson Allen, Jimmy Butler, Kevin Durant, and is it Nurkic that's their center? Then I think that's a formidable 5. And I think that, obviously I worked for the Washington Wizards for 5 years, so I know Bradley Beal. I know him well. I don't think he's a good fit next to Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. I never thought it was the right fit. I don't think that he's big enough. I don't think that he needs the ball in his hands too much. And so, and it would be one thing if he was a little bit of a better defender, but he's not. And the Phoenix Suns need toughness, but he has that no trade clause. So if I'm Bradley Beal, do I want to uproot my family? He's close to LA where his wife is from, and he's got three young boys. Do I want to uproot my family in the middle of the season? Maybe I don't. And he holds all the cards. But if you can get Jimmy Butler, Phoenix, absolutely do it. But I don't know why Miami would do that. I don't know that Bradley Beal necessarily fits next to Tyler Hero. Sorry, that's a lot, but that's how I feel. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I also saw another trade, a 3-team trade involving the Bucks, where maybe Beal goes to Milwaukee, Chris Middleton goes to Miami, and Jimmy Butler ends up in Phoenix, and maybe some other moving parts as well. So we'll keep a close eye on that. But in the interim, I just think Jimmy Butler needs to be more of a professional, and he's too old for this. He's too old for these antics, and I think he's setting a bad precedent for the young guys in the league. We know it's a players' league already, fam. You ain't got to abuse the system. Anyway, y'all let us know your thoughts on Jimmy Butler's current behavior. Is this suspension warranted? And if so, do you feel like it is just time for the Miami Heat to clean their hands of Jimmy Butler? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section.
All right, folks, we've got a special guest back with us today. He's a former NFL star who dominated on the field, and now he's making big moves off the gridiron as a business leader and mentor in the sports world. Y'all give a big welcome back to the one and only Garrett Jones. Thank you so much for coming on with us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I see that beard butter still working. That beard butter still growing strong, looking healthy, my mans.
Always, bro. Oh, we got to look the part, man. I mean, we got to act established, right?
Absolutely, 1,000%. I'm ready to talk about all the things that you have going on. I feel like since the last time we've spoken, some things have moved around. We got some new opportunities. What are you most excited about within your portfolio at this very moment?
Man, women's sports. Like I said the last time, we have been working on the Nashville expansion bid with the WNBA, in which we're still in that mix, but now we're talking with pro volleyball. Sorry about that. The federation, man. Looking at those options. There's some emerging leagues, in reference to women's gymnastics that we've been talking with. Being able to bring a lot of that to the forefront, man. I'm excited. Of course, the UFL. We're kind of talking with them when they're ready to get into independent ownership. But my thing is bringing it all together and putting it inside of our sports and entertainment district concept. So. It's been some really good reception, man. We're looking forward to a really good 2025.
I want to hear you expound on the PVF, the Pro Volleyball Federation, just a little bit. It's a brand new league. It rolled out just this year. I told Samaria earlier this year, I said, the next big league in American sports is the Pro Volleyball Federation.
Okay, why do you feel wait, hold on. I didn't have a problem, Garrett, with him saying that. I had a problem with why he said that volleyball would be bigger than softball, and it's because he's a man. Okay,
I got you.
Okay, now you can answer the
Garrett.
question.
Wait, Garrett, I know you real buttoned up. I don't want you to offend your political connects, but why, from your purview, is professional women's volleyball a sport that we should be investing time, interest, and your money into?
Well, I think you get the opportunity to get more close and personal with the athletes. And I think that's really the consensus across the board. Being able to paint that picture, that narrative, you get an opportunity to, from being from a football space, you get a chance to remove the helmets, if you will. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, it's just the opportunity for these athletes to continue on, after they're done, with their collegiate situations, right? We want to keep that going because they're coming into their own and you don't really mature enough until 26, 27. So I think that's going to be really the determining factor. People get a chance to watch these athletes grow and be a part of their growth. So that's how I see it.
I don't like that answer, but I'm gonna let you rock.
Right.
Yeah,
no, Rodney, you should tell him why you think.
Yeah.
All right. So I interviewed a young lady who was the national volleyball player of the year for the state of South Carolina 2 years ago. She now goes to the University of Texas, who just won the women's volleyball championship just last year, right?
Right.
And so that a lot of those players from that national championship team are now part of the PVF in their local pro team as well. And so the fan base down in Austin was easily transferable over to this new pro team, right? Boom.
Yes,
so
sir.
we get that. It's kind of like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. You take that swell of energy from college and bring it into the professional landscape. Cool. Absolutely. We understand all of that. But the real reason that there's an opportunity for emotional and aesthetic and emotional investment into women's volleyball is because it is a sport that showcases the beauty of femininity.
Yes, sir.
And it's a combination of athleticism and being fine as hell.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
unfortunately, in the WNBA, which they're doing phenomenal things, the league is growing exponentially, and we love it.
Right.
There is something to be said about the male gaze that you got to pay attention to. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
like it's a worthwhile business.
Man, listen, absolutely. I think there will be an uptick in male fandom across the board, and that's you can't bat an eye at that, right? That's a part of the deal. I think the league itself and where they're headed, you're gonna have a ton of males that'll be a part of this deal, and just really whether they're there for just the optics or they're there for just the sportsmanship and the athleticism, you want to get them in the door. So I feel you completely.
Yeah, I want to be right there sideline reporting. Hey, you know that
There you go.
that
Exactly.
kill shot right there was elite. So tell me about your eye line there. Sorry, Samaria, go
It gets
ahead.
on my nerves so bad. I want to go back to the WNBA because you talked a lot about ownership in that league. We've seen Unrivaled and how popular I feel like it's been the last couple of weeks or so. How much pressure do you feel like Unrivaled is putting on the WNBA?
Competition is good for anybody. It brings out the best in you, but I don't think that they're there to compete with the WNBA. I think they're there to add value when it comes to the athletes having to leave the country in order to keep funds going. I think they're going to be there to be an alternative to that, and that's a really good thing. I think that it'll complement the WNBA and its growth. They want to get to a point to where they are really able to stand on their own. And I think Unrivaled will help that, and that's going to be a really good thing because of the popularity of what they're doing. And there again, it's that up close, personal. The fans get a chance to really get into it, and that's really going to help the sport. So I don't think that they're going to be much of a competition scenario for them, but I think they're going to be there as a value add, realistically, if you really look at it.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping, that it's not it's they're not competing, but it's just kind of showing the WNBA like, look, you can have this league that's
Yeah.
more fan based, that's paying your players really what they're worth, so they don't, like you said, they don't have to go and play overseas in the off season.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, you
Um,
definitely want to try to keep your players in home states and keep them in the U.S. if you can.
the overhead of Unrivaled is so much less though than WNBA season, which affords them the luxury of being able to pay their players more, right? Like everybody is centrally located in Miami, so you don't have to worry about travel, you don't have to worry about renting out multiple arenas. And so fundamentally the business model of Unrivaled allows for the players to be the beneficiaries of a lot more of a cash flow. From my perspective. But I do want to talk about the city of Nashville, which many people refer to as White Atlanta. Why do you think that's the perfect market for the WNBA?
Man, it's just so much growth, man. I mean, it's pretty much Crane City at this point.
Yep.
Man, it's anytime that I'm there, just it's something new every time. And it's growing in such a way to where when you bring in the sports, you bring in the tech and innovation, you bring in all these different variables that we want to bring as a collective inside of my group. Man, we look forward to it. It's going to be huge, man. So that's a beautiful thing. I think growth is a beautiful thing, but you got to contain it in certain areas, and you got to not forget about the people that are there, especially in underserved areas. So we're looking forward to really tapping into that there. Yeah,
Yeah, and you remember I lived in Nashville for 2 years. I think it's the
absolutely.
perfect city for WNBA. And I think also it's the way that like the city is structured. Like everything is right off Broadway. So you have all of this foot traffic already there. It's like, okay, we're already on Broadway. Let's go catch a WNBA game. You know what I mean? Like it's literally
There you go.
right there. Everything is
Mhm.
centrally located right there. I think it'll be great. I really am rooting for you all to get in
Thank
Nashville.
you. Yeah, no. That's the thing, and a lot of what we're doing with our sports and entertainment districts is that building cities within cities. So everything's there. It's a destination. You got your hotels, your concert venues, you have your retail restaurants, you have all these other sports that we would look to bring into the fold. So now you cross pollinating fans. And just servicing the community. So I think with what we have, I won't say I think, I know with what we have the vision and the know-how and the substance that the WNBA would love and any league would love, as we're talking about the Professional Volleyball Federation, a few other leagues that we're talking with. We got a women's gymnastics professional league that is going to be emerging that will have a part of it. So we're looking to have fun, but it's a rinse and repeat. We're looking to do this across the country. So it's going to be a good time.
Well, it is the conference championship week. We can't let you get up out of here without letting us know your thoughts. Who we got in the NFC championship game and the AFC championship game.
Man, I tell you what, whoever shows up to play.
That's weak. Nah. We not. I'm not doing that. We not doing that.
Man, I tell you what though. In all honesty, bro, I think KC is gonna do it, and here's why. I know. We wanted Detroit. Man. I get it, because that's a feel good story. They deserve it, but they got to show up and play. No. That's the thing. I don't care who you are. You can look good on paper all day, but when I put that helmet on and put it in your chest, I'm gonna see what you're about.
Commanders or Eagles?
Ooh, the youngsters playing good, man.
He balling.
They galvanized, man. They believing in it, man. They believe. I'm gonna have to go Commanders, bro.
Ooh,
I'm gonna have to go. I'm just
okay.
It's a system of belief. I mean, if I believe I can actually beat you, and we got 4 quarters to do it, you got to play all 4 of them quarters.
Well, you heard it here first.
I'm not here for popularity, man. I'm here for progress. I'm telling you.
I love it. I'm going Commanders too. The Eagle fan base is just obnoxious though, so that's why I want the Commanders to win. I can't stand it. Man.
Listen, they are.
Yeah.
And that could be your 12th man in any given situation. So if the game is bigger than them, that will be the determining factor. Because you got to realize they all grown men out there. Everybody's getting paid. So hey, like I say, whoever shows up to play, man, I'm telling you. What about you guys? What we're looking like?
I think I'm going Commanders and Chiefs. Commanders and Chiefs in the Super Bowl. They be cheating for Patrick Mahomes too much for him to lose. So I'm
okay.
They protecting the investment. I understand what the NFL is doing. Some of those roughing the passing penalties are insane.
Yeah.
I get it. I'm with you.
I bumped the Commanders at this point. I'm going Eagles. I don't like the Eagles, but I'm going Eagles. I like Jalen Hurts. I don't want the Chiefs to win again. Pick. Yes, I'm very emotional right now. I do not want the Chiefs to win again. So I'm pulling for Philly to win it all.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Nah, all the emotional picks. We take emotional picks too now.
We appreciate you, Garrett. Thank you so much, man.
Yeah, for coming back and chopping it up with us. Y'all make sure to follow his journey. Show him some love in the comments. And don't forget to leave us a comment and let us know who you would like to see next time on The Fumble.
Okay, Samaria, I don't understand why the NBA and its media partners keep forcing senior citizens to be in primetime TV slots when there are way better games featuring young players who are on good-ass competitive teams. The league's approach to how they schedule national televised games and their inflexibility in season is why nobody wants to watch their product. The NFL, they will continue to put belt to ass to the NBA because the NFL will flex out of a game that is meaningless so quick. The NBA is going to force Sixers Nuggets on us even if Joel Embiid ain't playing. And he never does. So can we stop acting like there's some kind of rivalry between the Joker and Embiid? Embiid does not play in these games, okay? I've seen LeBron do chase down blocks and get to the cup at will for damn near 20 years, since before I could drive. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I have not seen, Samaria? I have not seen Jalen Green and Cade Cunningham dunk on each other and talk crazy because they have a beef that dates back to high school. I don't need to watch Steph Curry screens and pin downs 4 times a week on national television because I've seen it for almost 20 years. But you know what I haven't seen, Samaria? A one-legged three-point shot with 17 seconds on the clock that LaMelo shoots all the time. And LaMelo is leading the East guards in all-star voting. Put him on national TV when he's playing against Ja Morant of all people. Hello. That is easy. That's simple. That's obvious. It is time to update the algorithm of what you showcase, bruh. We should be able to witness the ascension of Cade Cunningham into superstardom. Let the world see it. Detroit finally has a superstar. I want to see Paolo in Orlando. The Knicks, I hate them, but they're fun to watch. SGA, Wemby, Trae Young, the entire Rockets team. Nobody wants to watch the Kings or Clippers play Milwaukee and Miami. Miami and Milwaukee should never be on TV in a primetime slot unless it's the playoffs. Nobody wants to watch it. It's ugly basketball. It's not fun. It's not entertaining. The old guys are going to be there in the playoffs, except for maybe Steph, because the Warriors are trash. But it's time to put the momentum of the league in its way too long regular season in the capable and fresh legs that the NBA now has. All right? Let the YNs, you know what the YNs mean? Let the YNs show out on nationally televised games, fam. NBA schedule makers, marketing, and PR, you get the fumble of the week. What are your thoughts on the scheduling for the NBA for nationally televised games, Samaria?
Yeah, it's pretty bad, but I think it's because the NBA has not, or they may be too afraid to embrace the younger superstars, the up and coming. Why do you feel like that is?
The YNs, because they really YNs.
They keep messing up. I know, because you had Ja, who was supposed to be the face of the NBA. He's had his issues. I don't know why they're not embracing like Anthony Edwards. You just mentioned a whole bunch of them: Jalen Green, Paolo, Wemby. Well, Wemby, I feel like they kind of like, but you would think that they would be putting more on them. SGA is just phenomenal. I don't know. It's so
they're not
weird.
on TV enough, and I keep having to watch James Harden. I don't want to see. I mean, like I've seen it for 20 years. I want to see something different. Here's what the NBA has a problem with. The NBA has too many brand partnerships, and so they have become a league that feels like they have to be overly safe, right? Because it's not a violent sport like NFL. The NFL can take certain risks or act like they don't care about societal issues because the game in and of itself is violent. And so with violence, you have an understanding that there's going to just be some that happens. But the NBA, because the product is more of a clean product, they think that they have to have a clean brand across the board, not realizing that people like to see flawed individuals in these times, especially. Right. So I want to see Ja Morant. I want to hear LaMelo Ball. Anthony Edwards. I think the league has embraced Anthony Edwards, but unfortunately, the Minnesota Timberwolves shot themselves in the foot because they only stuck him with bum ass Rudy Gobert. And so the team has gone backwards. And so now Ant is out there struggling, shooting 13 threes a game. But you know, I think Cade Cunningham, we need to see him on TV. We used to see the young players like play and develop. We got to see their maturation and their ascension. We don't get to do that anymore unless it's on YouTube, which I think is to the detriment of the league's brand.
Yeah. YouTube or League Pass. I'm like, maybe they like the League Pass money.
No, but that is so irrational because the casual fan does not have League Pass. Exactly. Right? The casual fan does not have League Pass. But if, like tonight, for instance, we shoot this on Thursday. Tonight, Miami and Milwaukee is playing. Jimmy Butler is suspended. Why do I want to watch that? I wouldn't want to watch it if Jimmy Butler was playing. You dig what I'm saying? So there's the inflexibility of being able to change their schedules of the nationally televised games in season is ridiculous. They're going to have to figure out a way to change that. I saw they did it last year. I don't know why this is not a mainstay, but there's too many good teams and so much good basketball nightly, but you would never know it because they keep showing us the same guys who are doing the same things, who are really who don't have the passion and the energy that the young guys do right now because their bodies are not broken down. It's okay, man. It's okay to move on.
Well, if anybody knows anybody that works with the scheduling department, please hit up Rodney. He has some thoughts and some suggestions to make things better over there.
They'd be playing national televised games and half the team ain't even there. Flex out of that game. Anyway, y'all let us know your thoughts. Is the NBA doing a poor job of presenting its new talent to its audience? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, that's all for this week. Thank you so much for joining us for another great episode of The Fumble. Make sure to subscribe to The Fumble and at The Fumble Sports on all of our social media platforms. We deliver the latest in sports every day on our YouTube page with our girl Jackie Ray, and every Friday right here at The Fumble with myself, Samaria Terry, and my co-host, Rodney Rikai.
Yeah. Hey, you like my blouse? You didn't compliment it today. What do you think about it?
Is that see-through?
It is. I'm glad my nipples ain't shown. Thank you guys for joining us on another episode of The Fumble. We out of here. Peace.